Hello, everyone. Welcome to Ashton College's online info session for our machine learning course. Really glad to have you all here, whether you're joining us on Facebook Live, on our Zoom webinar, or if you're watching on YouTube. My name is CJ McGillivray. I'm with the Ashton College Marketing and Communications team. I'm also joined by several colleagues. We have Maggie from Student Services, who's here to answer any questions you may have about registration for the course. We have Rica, who's handling all of our technical aspects on the back end. And we have, of course, Dr. Chengliang Huang, who's our instructor for the machine learning course. So welcome, everyone. Thanks so much for being with us today. Just a couple notes for our attendees. There is an interactive component to this online info session, so you can ask questions at any time. You can put them in our Facebook Live comments. You can also use the raise hand function or the chat box or the Q&A box on our Zoom webinar. If you are on YouTube, you can always just leave us a comment, or you can head straight to our email, ceinfo@ashtoncollege.ca, or you can phone us at 604-891-1256 or toll free 1-866-759-6006, and we're happy to answer any questions you might have. So with that, welcome Dr. Huang. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Hi, good evening. Thank you for joining this meeting. My name is Chengliang Huang, and I'm a data scientist in iFuture, and I'm also a lecturer in universities teaching courses on data science, data analysis, database, and statistics. I have the PhD degree, also Master of Applied Science, MBA, and bachelor's degree. Okay, so that's my brief introduction of myself.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. I can see you have just a wealth of knowledge and so much educational experience. So we're very lucky to have you at the college. I thought maybe to start us off, we might have some folks who are very new to the subject matter. And could you perhaps define or describe machine learning for us?
Machine learning is a word popular in these years. Formerly, it's more popular. The word is data mining, but now machine learning. That machine here stands for computer. Machine is a computer, and learning is not exactly the same procedure of a human being who is learning. It's to a certain degree, it's training and testing. But by doing training and testing, we need data. So it's a training done based on a certain amount of data. Nowadays, it can be big data. And to do the training and the testing, we also need algorithms. So those learning procedure is done through certain learning algorithm and using a certain amount of data. So to say it simply, that's to give machine, the computer, certain artificial intelligence in its application in different area of industry.
For sure. It's just a nice little overview for us. Thank you. So just to sort of jog our memory a little bit, could we talk about some famous applications of machine learning?
Yes, there are a lot of them in these days, especially in like computer vision, like the natural language processing. When we are writing email, sometimes it will automatically add some words after what you input. That's now the system is becoming smarter and smarter. And to support such function, the back end, it's machine learning. And also it is used in bioinfo and even in self-driving. For self-driving, automobile can be quite smart. So
Mm-hmm.
it need a machine learning algorithms. And even in politics, as I know, when Obama is running for US's president, he has a machine learning team. But now
Wow.
for Trump or, or Biden, I don't know exactly, but maybe in the future they will also will disclose certain stories about them. I think it's typically it's important because they will spend their money in advertising, and nowadays such advertising also has to be smarter. So they
Mm-hmm.
will uh, analyze users' information, and based on their preference, then they will provide specified advertisement to
Mm-hmm.
them. So even for such political campaign, it is becoming more smarter. Smarter.
Amazing. I never
Yes.
would have guessed the political connections, but it
Yeah.
makes a lot of sense. I'm sure, anyone who's watching our session right now can relate to seeing ads on Facebook for things they didn't even know that they needed. But we can see those algorithms at work and that data usage at play in so many areas of our life. I can also relate to when you're talking about the email threads and having words or phrases be suggested. I use
Yes.
Grammarly as a tool in all of my email writing,
Yes.
and that's
Mm.
machine learning in my daily life.
Yes.
So there you go.
Mm.
Um, so let's talk about the course itself. Could we talk about the general structure of the machine learning course?
Uh, the design of the course is based on the overall budget. It's 10 classes.
Mm-hmm.
So in the very beginning, in the first class, we will have a general introduction on machine learning and about its history. And also in the future, maybe like deep learning. Deep learning actually is a branch of machine learning. But
Okay.
deep learning needs much powerful computer skill, computer capability. So can be the advanced stage for machine learning. So currently, we will be focusing on more traditional algorithms like typically it's supervised learning
Mm-hmm.
and unsupervised learning. For supervised learning, there will be regulations and classifications. Then there is a learning called similarity learning. That's similar with supervised learning. So it will be right after supervised learning. Then we will start to study unsupervised learning. Then after that, we will study either time series analysis or text
Okay.
mining. Then finally, on artificial network, then deep learning. A certain fundamental knowledge, maybe we will try one uh, deep neural network, not all of them. So we have the certain sense about deep learning. But
Mm-hmm.
for the fundamental of deep learning, for simpler case, it's artificial neural network. And artificial neural network is also typically included in machine learning courses.
Okay, wow. Thank you. That's a very in-depth overview. It really sounds like the course is progressive. So we sort of
Yes,
layer on the fundamentals to start, get some of the basics in there, and then working all the way up to, as you said, deep
yes,
learning, which sounds to me is like the most complex of those subject areas. Is that correct?
yes,
Okay, great. So it's a nice pace so that students can get really engaged and hopefully build
yeah,
some confidence early on. Wonderful.
yeah, mm,
Um, so let's talk about your teaching style a little bit. How are you like in the classroom?
yeah. So nowadays, due to COVID-19, we have to consider online,
Hmm.
and typically we will use Zoom. Uh, if Zoom is not functioning, Google Meet can be the backup. For online learning, there I realize, I perceive their advantages because the
Mm-hmm.
time is more flexibility. It's more flexible in timing, and we can be more focused on uh, introduction uh, online. And for me, I will be more focused on theory. Then after that, I will provide some hands-on examples and ask students to try to fulfill them. Finally, I will review them. Then
Mm-hmm.
in for that, we need some programming skills. uh, Python or R will be used. Uh, you don't have to be worried too much about the language for Python and R. Typically, they are not that difficult. So in the first class, I will introduce fundamental R or Python. So in the following classes, I will provide the example to how to realize those algorithms and reach certain functions and so on. So your students are able to get a sense of success in each class. And finally, I will try to be flexible for the design of class based on the number of students
Mm-hmm.
and the time and so on. So that's for the further detailed design of the class. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
that's all.
That's wonderful. And I think flexibility is a huge aspect of online learning, no matter the subject area, any continuing education course, having that flexibility. And, we've seen in a lot of courses that we have people joining from all kinds of time zones. I mean, you and I are a great example. We're in different time zones right now, but because of online capabilities and video conferencing, we're able to host an info session together,
Yeah.
which is
Now,
amazing.
nowadays, the students are worldwide.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Hmm. Um, could you talk a little bit about your expectations of the students who enroll in the course?
For the expectation, it's similar as objective in our course outline.
Hmm.
Basically, I hope students to have a general understanding of the machine learning, its history and its application. Then students should master the most popular machine learning algorithms and
Hmm.
also learn some programming skills. So for complicated programs, if they are not able to write the code quickly, but then they can read it, know, oh, this paragraph of code is for what is doing, know that you can read it. So and for others, for other one stage, students also know something about uh, like time series analysis and
Okay.
text mining. For time series analysis, it can be popularly used in financial uh, uh, organizations like banks and so on. And
Okay.
for text mining, it can be for used frequently for like Facebook and LinkedIn because they have to find the information from your input, your words, text, and so on. So they are trying to get, it's called a crawl, web crawl, to get some messages from them. Okay.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
And it sounds like, just from hearing you talk about it more, machine learning is so prevalent across all of these various industries, social media, financial sector. It's very prevalent in our daily
Yeah.
lives.
Yes.
What I'm also hearing from you is that there's an emphasis on understanding the code and comprehension and being able to work with it, and maybe a little bit less of an emphasis on being able to code really fast. Is that accurate?
Yeah, that's because I'm thinking about a learning curve. Some
Mm-hmm.
skills to be perfect, you need longer time. So for in this course, you learn the most important skills and learn the most important is for you to learn how to learn in the future, learn by yourself. So
Mhm.
you have a more promising future for your career development.
Mhm. Is that something you find for yourself? Are you continually looking for learning opportunities and developing your skills in your free time?
I think learning is a lifetime job. For myself, I'm also always learning. Sometimes self-studying, sometimes learning from other people, and not only limited to those in the textbook, also in the daily life, we can learning the from our neighbors, friends, and so on, our
Mhm.
colleagues.
I've heard from a lot of instructors that curiosity is one of the most important qualities to have in life and as a student, and certainly enrolling in a course like this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm.
Great. So let's talk a little bit about the specifics of the course. So the course description mentions two main things that I wanted to chat about. One is bringing a technical perspective into the workplace through machine learning. Could you reflect on
Uh,
that?
in these days, there is like, for example, now one is like face identification.
Mm.
So in some companies in China, people don't have to swipe their card to enter a company. They just swipe their face. So that's one. And there are also like chatbots. Chatbots are
Mm-hmm.
becoming increasingly advanced, and that's due to the advancement of algorithms. And for human resource, uh, it's used to hiring the right people. Now there are softwares to scan all those resumes. They may receive thousands of resumes, so it's not possible for them to read it one by one. And those resumes now it's electrical one, so they just use the software to uh, scroll those resumes and get a keyword and make a rough judgment and blah blah. So it's more efficient. That's a very typical example. And as for others, also can measure the brand exposure and like improving customers' loyalty and for banks to detecting fraud and so on.
Amazing. Yeah, it's so radical to think how futuristic our society is. You don't need to swipe an access card or use a key code, but just showing your face and having facial recognition, as you
Yeah,
said. And I was thinking too, when you mentioned the chat boxes, that's another example of how machine learning is prevalent in a wide variety of industries. We can think of any number of companies that you would use chat box functions on their website. I think we even have one, and certainly my phone company uses one. Whenever I have a problem, there's a little chat box there.
yeah,
Yeah, and I've also heard about the resume skimming. So uh, folks are taught to use keywords in their resumes so that the machine learning algorithms will be able to pick those up, and it'll reflect positively on them. So it's a really fascinating direction for the industry, and how it's affecting all of these other industries as well.
yeah.
Yeah. Let's chat about another of the topics covered in the course. Um, the description mentions selecting and justifying an appropriate machine learning approach for a given business problem. Do you want to chat about that a little bit?
In the you mean about the common challenges people are facing?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, common
Yeah.
challenges people would face.
Uh, yes, it is challenging. So, for example, data collection. For collect data like uh,
Mm-hmm.
US's presidency election is a large scale, super large scale campaign to collect data. So you can imagine how much money is invested in it. And those data cannot be uh, that perfect because people there can be subjective factors. People are trying to uh, affect other people's opinion, especially on those data if it's most on subjective matters. But for there are also objective data, like if you are trying to measure the temperature in a certain area, you will put a lot of sensors there. So those sensors
Mhm.
maybe each day their data rate can be low. Each day they will send like 4 or 3 signals to the receiver. So those data can be uh, objective, but it's still expensive because we have to invest in the sensor, and those sensors should have its life. It should have battery, and those batteries should be small and with long life and blah blah.
Mhm.
So that's data collection is one problem, and another one is like, do you have when we know it's machine learning, we have to learn. So learning is training. So do we have enough amount of training data? Or is training data representative enough to the fact we are investigating? So
Mhm.
that's all concerns. And the quality of data, sometimes there are a lot of missing items. Like if we are collecting the financial reports from those listed companies, they may missing this item or that item. For example, we intend to know their advertisement quarterly and what's their effect on the uh, employee salary level and blah blah. Then
Mhm.
certain data may be not available, so that's also a concern. And like sometimes there are too many irrelevant features, like maybe like your SIM card number, your health card number, and those
Mhm.
things. Typically, it can be an identification, but it don't have much informations in it. So all these can be challenges in daily work. So that's why it need a lot of employees.
Wow. Yeah. So growing industry as we've discussed. Incredible. Lots of surprising challenges that you mentioned there, and I think budget is such an interesting one because obviously the quality of the data should be as high as possible so that the machine learning can run smoothly and the analysis can be accurate. But there's all these hidden factors that someone who's not in the industry might not necessarily be aware of. So it's really great to hear about that from you. Um, so let's chat about the labor market a little bit. And could you reflect on the current demands for experts in machine learning? Is there a good demand for experts in the area, and do you see that growing?
I'm always checking Indeed to using the keyword like machine learning and data science, and also uh, anyway, typically there are a great need uh, ex- for personals in this area, and their names can be like data scientists and machine learning engineer, data analyst, and so on. So anyway, there is a lot of chance, and the salary it's typically it's more than 70,000, can be 10,000 and
Impressive.
even higher.
Yeah, so definitely a living wage, and obviously tons of job listings right now for anyone who's curious about machine learning or data analysis and looking to go into the field or maybe build upon the credentials that they already have. It's a really positive direction to move into for sure. Just wanted to add for our attendees, if you do have any questions at any point that haven't already come up, you can always email us at ceinfo@ashtoncollege.ca, give us a call at 604-891-1256, or toll free 1-866-759-6006, and we're happy to answer any questions you might have. We also have, of course, the comment section on Facebook Live or on YouTube, and the Q&A box and chat function on Zoom. Rica, I'll just jump over to you for a quick second. Did we have any questions on Facebook Live that we could address?
Yes, I actually do have a quite a fun one. So someone from Facebook is asking, is there a difference between deep learning and machine learning?
Deep learning is a branch of machine learning. But if you check it carefully in the internet, there may be different uh, description about relationships between like artificial intelligence, deep learning, machine learning, data mining. But anyway, they are similar. Typically, we can treat machine learning as a new words for data mining. And for deep learning, uh, it uses artificial neural network. In theoretical area, it's called connectivism. So because there are different schools of theory to realize artificial learning, and like support vector machine is one way, decision tree is another one. It's called symbolism, but networking is called uh, connectionism. So there are different schools nowadays because the capability of computer is quite strong. So uh, using neural network is capable to handle a lot of issues. But tens of years ago, the computer is not that powerful enough. So the neural network is not that popular. Sometimes it is frustrating. They intend to realize certain algorithm, but the computer cannot do it. Of course, human being also cannot do it. But nowadays, computer is capable. So that's why we can take the advantage of deep learning, use neural network. But in the past, that's the complexity of computing. Computing, it's a problem. So that's why, because the advantage of technology, the related algorithms are also involving. So nowadays, deep learning is also hot, but if you intend to learn deep learning, typically you have to learn machine learning first.
Thank you so much. That was an
You're welcome.
incredibly in-depth answer. And thank you, Rica, for that wonderful question from Facebook Live. It's clear how nuanced the field is, and I can only imagine how much, I've learned just from this short time chatting with you versus how much the students will be able to learn over the course of 10 weeks with you with those 3-hour webinars each week. It's just a fascinating subject area, so it's wonderful to chat about. So I have a couple more questions for you I wanted to ask. This is just a little extra question. I was curious about interaction during classes, and if there's a lot of back and forth, question and answer, and if there's a chat box function in the lectures or any kind of discussion in that way.
Typically, for questions, I like to group into two. One is the generic ones. So generic questions will be discussed in a group. We can have a email group or Zoom chat group. And if we have learning management system, in those systems, we also can have those groups. And we can also take use of other group in Facebook or Twitter. But anyway, so for general questions, it's better to be discussed in a discussion group. And
Mhm.
not only me, but also other students can post their questions or also try to answer other students' questions, because by doing this, you are sharpening your skills or your understanding about a certain issue. It's a good chance to improve yourself. Then for individual issues, or some of students may be quite shy to say, oh, if I'm raising a
Mhm.
question, it shows I'm not that strong in this area. So if you do have these concerns, you can write such email to me personally. So anyway, contact and maybe also a private chat with me. So I will reply this, and the typical my response uh, is typically it's within 24 hours, then no more than 48 hours. So it is responsive. That's that is good, but I have bad experience. I know in some training center, when I'm raising a question, it was not answered, and I have to follow up, and
Yeah.
last for 1 month. It's
Oh
still
gosh.
not fully solved.
Well, it's wonderful that you're so responsive, and I've definitely heard that as a through line talking with a lot of our instructors that we have at Ashton College. Is all students are always welcome to email instructors with questions they might have, and have a quick response time. And it's just one of the really lovely interactive elements of the way that we do our courses here, which is wonderful to hear. Um, I was also curious, in your opinion, what do you think students will enjoy most about the course?
Uh, that's based on students' need. For some students, if it's their fun to learn something unknown, and for some students, it's uh, enjoying to learn some skills which will be helpful for their career.
Mhm.
And so that I think this to learn this is not only helping students self, it's also uh, sh- shaping the viewpoint in among his or her family members, because the trend in this world is moving from information technology era to data technology era. So now, like so they are 40 years ago, we cannot imagine every day we are working with a computer, right?
Mhm.
A computer is in our daily life. If we don't have the internet, we don't have a computer, we don't feel at ease. But for the future, for our next generation, for our life, maybe 10 years later, we have to be prepared. We have to know something about this. And if
Mhm.
you know this, if you cannot using this to find a job immediately, but for a long run, you are more ready to the life and the society in the future.
Incredible. So it sounds like the course is beneficial for folks who are looking to gain employment in data mining or data analysis or machine learning, but also just for anyone who's curious about, dare we say, future proofing themselves and staying relevant and staying informed about how society is moving forward in relation to
Yeah,
technology.
yeah, certain to a certain degree, it's an attitude to the future
Mm.
of this society, future on the technology, future of what it can be of this world.
I love
Uh,
that, an attitude to the future.
yes, it's not only limited to our uh, job or career in the coming months or years, but maybe for much longer, more for tens of years, for even for next generation.
Wonderful. So we thought now would be a nice time to shift gears a little bit over to student services and registration. So Maggie, I'd like to invite you to speak.
Thank you, CJ and Dr. Chengliang. We're getting wonderful information here. Hello, everyone. This is Maggie, Admissions Officer for Ashton College Continuing Education Division. In admissions, we would love to hear all your inquiries, and this is one of the courses that people will really find interesting as it really completely related to modern technology. The machine learning course will start on January 5 till March 9, 2021. Again, January 5 till March 9 of 2021. You will definitely enjoy the convenience of live online learning as we offer an interactive class environment, as also mentioned earlier. The webinars will be held on Tuesdays, that is once a week from 4 till 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 3 hours of live instruction each week. Students will have 10 weeks to complete this course with a total of 30 hours of instruction. We have no admission requirements. However, knowledge of logic and any programming language is an asset, but again, not required. The instructor may provide additional online resources, but no textbooks required. And the registration fee is $890, no other charges. You may also visit our website at ashtoncollege.ca. And this course is under continuing education. There's a lot to know more. There's a lot to know about the machine learning course. So please send us your inquiries at ceinfo@ashtoncollege.ca or give us a call at 604-891-1256. Thank you, CJ.
Thank you so much, Maggie. That was wonderful. So any inquiries, Maggie would love to hear from you and support you through that and answer any questions you might have. Rica, let's bounce over to you. Did we have any Facebook Live questions?
Yes, we do. I still have a couple here. I guess I'll start with a basic one. The question is, do you need a bachelor's degree in information technology or computer science in order to get into the field?
Wonderful. Dr. Chengliang?
Okay, that's not a strong request. As we know now, for the information technology is developing quite quickly. So there's a saying, if a student learning computer science but is not working in this area for 3 years, then he is out of date. He has to learn again, start to learn the courses again. So from this point of view, if you haven't been to a university, you are still okay to join such a program. But of course, if your background is relatively weak, you will have to spend more time on this. And but as I mentioned, for this course, it's also a chance for you to start your career and your learning in this area. The one side of the important thing for you to get in this course is to learn how to run in this area. So in the future, you can learn through additional courses or learn by yourself. So only the learning curve can be different, right? So yours may be a bit steeper, others may be flattened, but for the long run, the human life is long, so we have to invest different time in it. But anyway, it's not a must for an undergraduate degree.
Great, thank you. And Rica, did you say we had one more question from Facebook Live?
Yes, we do. Second question is, what are the top industries that are widely using machine learning?
Sorry, can you repeat?
Sorry, the question is, what are the top industries that are widely using machine learning? Healthcare, I'm guessing, or finance?
Machine learning, nowadays, in like biomedical, in telecommunication, in financing, and in manufacturing and automobile. So almost most area of industry, but typically the company should be larger if they themselves are developing machine learning applications in their business. For smaller companies, they may just buy those products developed by other companies.
Very interesting. So, wide variety of industries. It sounds like, too, if someone has a passion for data science, but they also have a passion for finance, they could merge those two passions and get a job in machine learning at a high profile bank. It sounds like there's a lot of opportunities out there for graduates and for people working in the industry. Great. Thank you so much, Maggie, and thank you, Tarika, for those wonderful questions. So, Dr. Chengliang, I just have a couple more questions for you before we wrap up. Here's a fun one. I know we've talked about lifelong learning before. I was curious if you have any books that you're reading right now, whether that's for your education or just for fun, even.
What are the books I'm reading?
Yeah, anything on your bookshelf right now?
Uh, there are a lot of books in the like literature in these days. Reading Jane Eyre. Uh,
Okay.
yes, that's English novel.
Yeah, Jane Eyre.
Uh, then I also listen to some opera, and of course, I'm also reading some books related to my work. So something like advanced topics on statistics and related to deep learning and so on. Even for statistics, people think like linear regression can be the most fundamental topic in machine learning, but there are a lot of stuff to be investigated, like how to make linear regression more robust.
Mhm.
So uh, there are still areas to work on. So that means nothing uh, is old or being out of dated if you're trying to find some new areas for further research or to find funny things inside it. Don't have
Mhm.
to be everything. Don't have to be fashion.
Well, it sounds like you're obviously very passionate about the subject, and if you read these, complex texts in your spare time, and I'm really excited for the students who are going to be enrolling in this class and who will get to learn with you in January when the course starts. It's really exciting. So before we wrap up, I just always have one last question. If you have any final words of advice or wisdom for students who are considering taking this course.
uh, my final word is so early bird gets the worm.
I
So
love that phrase.
yeah, if you intend to get some more, takes advantage from a certain career or certain skill, and so certain thing, you better start it earlier. And in for machine learning area, the now the salary is still high, but with more and more people join in the learning and getting more and more experience, then uh, maybe the can be chance can be uh, not as easy as in the very beginning. But of
Mhm.
course, It's not like just like people are making the cake bigger and bigger. So anyway, there is still chance, but I think it's better to do it earlier, to make that decision earlier.
Yeah, I love that. Early bird gets the worm, and now is such an obviously exciting time to be involved in machine learning and to be learning about it. And why wait, right? There's so many, opportunities to learn and get involved in the industry. It's very exciting. So I just want to say thank you so much for your time today. I
Welcome.
really appreciated all of your insight. It was very exciting. I'm sure that it was very meaningful and informative for our attendees as well. Also want to give a thank you to Maggie from Student Services for your part here today. Really appreciate that. And Rica for keeping everything functioning as usual and wonderful. This has been a fascinating online info session. Really appreciate all of it. Also, just a shout out for our attendees. If you do have any other questions that come up, please feel free to reach out to us. You can email us at ceinfo@ashtoncollege.ca. You'll get a response from Maggie on that email address, or you can give us a call at 604-891-1256 or toll free at 1-866-759-6006. Thank you so much, everyone, for being with us today. And with that, I'll just wish everyone a great rest of your week. So thank you.